Hello, and welcome to another episode of Enough Said. I'm your host, Cedric Newburn, and I'm here today to talk to you about this theory of loyalty. Uh, I have, in the last several weeks, had several conversations with people that hire and fire young professionals, many friends that are frustrated with some of the decisions that are being made by companies and organizations as it pertains to either their careers or even just being a customer. And so it made me ask the question of where is the loyalty? Now, we all know that corporations and organizations want both loyal employees as well as customers. But the question I ask is, are they truly willing to pay the price for that loyalty? Unfortunately, we've been in this cycle of profit over people. And I've been saying this now for the last 10, 15 years that the root cause of some of many of the challenges that employees deal with in their corporations and within organizations is that there is a profit motive behind many of the decisions that are being made. The same holds true for customers. What people don't realize, I think, in organizations, oftentimes there's this push to drive profit margins up. We've got to cut expenses. We've got to go lean. There's been a shift, and so we need to address this challenge because we really need to drive more profit. And what ends up happening is someone or some team is sitting down with an Excel spreadsheet and they've got some macros built in and some calculations, and you all have seen it. They make one minor adjustment and it allows them to hit the number of profit that they're looking for. That profit margin seems like, oh, it's doable. All we've got to do is cut this much in expenses. But what's not accounted for in that one little cut, that small percentage that they're trying to gain, that percentage point that they're trying to gain in profit, is that there are people behind that. There are customers that are hungry and that every dollar they earn is getting stretched thinner and thinner and thinner. Just the other day, I thought, I'm going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to have a filet of fish. Please don't judge me for that. But because I can no longer really eat McDonald's hamburgers, filet of fish and McChicken is all I got. And I'm tired of the McChicken. So I thought, I'm going to jump in and have me a filet of fish. And when I got that filet of fish, it was the tiniest sandwich I've seen in my life. It looked more like a breakfast sandwich. I still paid a premium for that filet of fish because companies are now making the products much smaller, still charging the same amount, so they're able to get more in profit. Companies are also laying employees off. Unfortunately, my generation, Gen X, we are the ones that seem to be most targeted because we've been within companies for a while. We've done well within the companies. We've moved up in the ranks. And when they take out that mid-level management team, they're able to save lots and lots of money. But as fate would have it, those of us that lose those jobs, unfortunately, it's difficult to find a next job because, again, often we are told we have too much experience. Our qualifications are too high for the roles that are available because, again, they know they can get a twofer. Oftentimes, they can get two for the price of one. They can hire two young professionals for what they would pay someone in our generation if they were to hire them. So whenever there's a profit motive, there are not only people affected, but also communities and other businesses. Because if I'm laid off, if my company has downsized and me and my wife are now suffering, guess who else suffers? The small businesses around me, the organizations that I normally donate to. It can impact an entire community. And if you don't believe that, go look around the states of Michigan and Illinois and all of those small towns like Gary, Indiana, that were deeply affected when the car manufacturers pulled out of those areas. Those people in those communities depended on those jobs, and now those communities no longer really thrive or even in some cases exist. But it was a spreadsheet. a little small change to a percentage to help drive more profit. And let's face it, employees today are job hopping more than ever. This is something that, frankly, is not going to go away. According to an article that was written by Caroline Castrillian, I think I'm saying her name. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. But Castrillian, it was in Forbes, and the article was entitled "Why Job Hopping is Going to Continue for the Foreseeable Future." In that article, she talked about the fact that Gen Z and millennials are more prone to job hopping because they won't settle. They refuse to settle. They don't want to settle. Individuals, Gen X and millennials, they want to work on their own terms. And just like Gen X, salary is important, true, but they actually value freedom. They want work-life balance. They also want to work for a company that has a purpose, that's doing good in the community. That's very, very important to them. And I know as a Gen Xer myself, those things are also important to me, but I grew up under, let's say, the leadership style of baby boomers, where you pretty much go to a company, you work there, you give them your all, and then you retire. But I started to question that. And I too have job hopped. But now, thank goodness, I am in a place where my skills, my dream job I have right now. But early on, there were opportunities for me to grow that I was looked over because of my age or what have you. And then, of course, as I continued to grow, I realized that again, I would be looked over now because I had too much experience. So I think the question that I'm asked is, what can we do with these young professionals that don't understand that job hopping is a bad thing? And my response is always, there's a reason they're job hopping. Are you willing to pay the price to get them to be loyal employees to you? Are you willing to do the things like afford them with work-life balance? A lot of people brag, oh, I worked 80 hours this week. That's great. But how many soccer games did you miss? How many PTA or PTO meetings did you miss? Did you give your talents and your gifts to your church or your religious organization or the nonprofit that means so much to you and the cause that you care so much about? Did you have enough time to give to them? What about just spending time with your family? That 80 hours takes away from the time that you should be investing in your family so that if you thrive in relationship with your family, profits will come. So when people complain to me, especially as employers and leaders and organizations, about this new generation and how they are not as dedicated and loyal, I always say back to them, how loyal are you to them? And are you willing to pay the price for loyalty? Now, if you are one of those people that's questioning that, I want you to take that question into consideration. What are some things that you can do now to ensure that that Gen Z, that millennial that you are hiring or just hired, or that you're looking at as a possible, candidate for your role, are you offering them the flexibility that they so desire? Or are you requiring people to come into the office every day because you came under the tutelage of a leader that believed that the only way I can verify that people are doing work is that if I see them? And we know that that's not true. We've seen the numbers that productivity has gone up 40% in some cases where people are able to work from home and they've got the flexibility to take care of dogs and children and run to the school if they need to bring medicine to a kid. So we know that the numbers show us otherwise, and yet we still hold true to some old values and old thinking. So are you willing to pay the price? The same holds true for customers. Customers shop now because they have so many means of finding the products at the price that they want. No longer do you have to go to a box store and hope that they have what you're looking for. I can sit here right now with my phone and look for any product available and find it, and it can be shipped to me within 2 days. Or I can go to a location and pick it up. So are you, as an organization that's selling a product and or a service, are you willing to pay the price for loyalty? And no, it's not just about having the lowest price, although customers are a lot more price sensitive, I believe, these days than they've ever been. Yes, we're all looking for the best deal, but we're also looking for great quality. And we no longer are stuck with a brand. In the good old days, I remember I bought my first house. I was 21 years old. And I remember my stepdad was like, now you go and you get you a Sears credit card because anything you need for your house, you're going to find it at Sears and Roebuck. Now, where is Sears today? Was Sears as loyal to me and other customers as I was to them? Because yes, I went there, I bought washer and dryers, I bought refrigerators, I bought, lawn equipment, you name it, I bought it from Sears. And now Sears no longer exists. And how many other box stores that had a brand name no longer exist, largely because they took customers for granted. They focused so much on the profit and not on pleasing the people that they were selling the products to. Perceived value has shifted. So there's obviously a value. There's a price people are willing to pay, right, for a product or service. This is something that I teach in my entrepreneurship classes. But there's this thing called perceived value. So this is like the value that goes above and beyond. This is what sets you apart from your competitors or like products. And then there's the enhanced perceived value. And that's where it brings you extra delight, supreme delight. So when I break this down for my students, I talk about, I'm a big believer in brands. I've always liked brands, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that the quality sometimes is no different than going somewhere like, say, Target. So maybe I can get an endorsement deal or sponsorship. But here's the thing. Target sells Goodfellow sweatshirts. I love those sweatshirts. I actually have a whole set, the sweatshirt and the jogging pants. Man, I love them. I actually get a lot of compliments for that one. That gives me value. It keeps me warm. It helps me stay stylish, what have you. It's comfy clothes. The quality is good enough. It's withstood many, many washes. But I could go to Nike and pay a little bit more because there's a brand. So there's going to be perceived value because the Nike brand comes with such a high level of quality and you expect it to be a better product. It's still not that much better than Goodfellow to me, but you're going to pay more because of perceived value. Now, if you're into Supreme and Louis Vuitton sweatsuits and things like that, then Gucci sweatsuits, you're going to pay a premium for that enhanced perceived value. So in your mind, you're thinking, well, this is a superior quality because I'm paying $1,000 or $500 for a sweatshirt, as opposed to $25 that I would have paid for a sweatshirt at Target. They both add value because they allow you to have clothes, to be stylish, but there's an enhanced perception because you've paid so much more. It is a brand name. It's exclusive, so not everyone has that. Everybody's not walking around in that Gucci sweatshirt like they may be in the Goodfellow brand. So there's an enhanced perceived value that I feel good about myself because I can afford to pay $500 for a sweatshirt. But at the end of the day, if your goal is to get customers as a business and have them purchase from you time and time and time again, you've got to tap into the idea, you've got to tap into their perceived value and understand that there is a price that they're willing to pay. There's an expectation, though, of you as a company, and what you're going to bring to the table. There's an expectation that you are going to look at them as people and not a means to profit. So, if you're asking yourself, where is the loyalty? Stop and look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I willing to pay the price for loyalty? So, again, that is enough said. I want to again bring topics to you that are front of mind for me as I'm having conversations with business colleagues, clients, and even my students, asking me how they can better their lives, how they can engage customers, how they can grow their business. I will bring those ideas to you through this podcast, which you can find on any podcast platform. So, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. It's available on Amazon as well. You can, and also on YouTube. So if you haven't followed, you haven't subscribed, please do so. And also follow me on social media. I'm on all platforms as Cedric Newburn. So with that, I want to thank you for always tuning in and being involved in what I'm doing here. And I look forward to having a conversation with you next time on Enough Said.